Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Spears and Steinberg podcast. Right here with Spears.
How y'all feel out there?
Steinberg. What time is it? Game time. Just a bit outside. So you know what that means, folks. We're in Cleveland. Is this considered Midwest?
This is, yeah, I think so, yeah.
But this is East Coast, though. But it's
this
considered
isn't East Coast. It's just it's the Michigan. It's the water, Lake Erie.
Right. So when does official East Coast begin?
On the East Coast.
Oh, well, there it is. We are in the Mississippi of the Midwest.
That's not a bad.
Cleveland.
That's not a bad. Two places that I wonder why I'm here sometimes.
I was trying to look at the weather because it is snowing out here, but I got up this morning like I said I was going to do and went to CVS, but I wanted to see how cold it was. I looked out the window and, of course, it was snowing, but I wanted to go see how cold it was. So as I go to the weather app and type in Cleveland, I didn't know there was a Cleveland, Texas.
I didn't know that either.
Just like there's a Philadelphia, Mississippi.
It would be a Texas, Ohio, not a Cleveland, Texas.
Well, no. Wait, say that again?
We're in Ohio.
Yes, no, but what I'm saying is in Texas, there's a city.
Oh, in Texas, there's a city
called Cleveland, Texas.
Oh, you got that to come up instead.
Well, when you try to type in Cleveland, Ohio, that was one of the options.
Okay.
And because, like I said, I didn't know that there was a Philadelphia, Mississippi.
I didn't know there was Philadelphia, Mississippi either.
Wow, ain't that some shit?
No.
Cool name and a shit place.
What if you were, that would be kind of weird though, if you were from another country and you're moving here.
Right.
You accidentally end up on fucking Philadelphia.
Once you find out the difference, you got to get the fuck up out of there. All right, folks, I am very happy today because I just saw the trailer. I'm starting to see ads and pictures. It's back. Fucking Ozark. Season 4 comes out January 21st. Wait a minute, what's today?
It's
It's tomorrow.
January 21st?
Yes.
That's 2 days ago.
No, today's January 23rd.
Yeah, that's so
January 20th. Oh,
2 days ago.
So it's out.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Do you have it on your iPad?
No. But I can download it. I got Netflix.
Yeah.
Oh boy. But here's what I'm gonna do. I don't know if they're releasing all the episodes immediately.
I know you'd like to do
I'm a binge, nigga. I got to binge. Because that, to me, like I said, when you watch a good show, it's like masturbation and potato chips. You just can't do a piece or a stroke. You got to finish. You got to finish. When you pop the bag open, you got to finish. When you pull your dick out, you got to jack till you come.
What's the chick that you like that I say looks like the Hulk?
Gemma.
Gemma?
Yeah.
So she told you, like, okay,
yes.
We can do it. But you can only put it in one time today. You can only put it in once. You can't finish. Just once. And
that's it?
And then the next day you get to do it twice.
So like 6 strokes per day?
Yeah. Until you can find it. And it takes you a month before you can actually get to finish.
Let me tell you something. The minute I feel the energetic hairs. You know how you go to touch something, but you don't really make contact, but you get so goddamn close, you can feel the energy of what you're about to touch.
Like when Velcro almost touches, but you barely feel it just a little,
but you can
contact. Feel it. So you would take that deal because
I would take it because I would pop it during the energy phase. The moment I felt Gemma energy, Gemma vaginal energy, nigga, I'm out.
All right.
The buildup would be to try and last. Oh, boy.
So it would be tough for you to get to 2 pumps the next day.
Oh, nigga. It'd be...
Dude, my bronchitis is just starting to kick in a little bit. Yeah, and dude, COVID is not the time to have bronchitis, man. People look at you like you are, like I'm the Night Stalker. I'm Rich Ramirez coming to get them with my COVID breath.
Dude, when I walked to the CVS this morning, which actually I called the desk to make sure, yes, that one was closed. Where we're staying at the hotel on the back end, literally 2 blocks.
So you walked? Did you walk?
I walked. But dude, this snow shit, slush, ice, I'm over it, man.
Dude, okay, guys, just so...
I'm a New York nigga, but I'm a California boy.
You are California now. When we were in Cleveland yesterday, we were going to go to the CVS.
I wish they all could be California girls.
And it's 9 blocks. And there's short blocks here. It's not very far. And Aries got halfway through, and then he goes, fuck it, we're going this way. And he walked he walked into the first restaurant that was there and ordered up an Uber.
For 3 blocks.
For 3 blocks.
Man, y'all can keep this shit here. This tundra, ice cold, slush, snow, 8 degrees, which it was last night. Y'all can have this shit, man. Dude, I don't want no parts of this.
And then we went to the mall yesterday, too. We're going to go to the mall. And what happened in the mall is that the building's there, but the mall left.
Let me give you a little bit of history. And I've been coming to Cleveland for a decade and plus. Not that this mall was ever the happening mall, because where it is a lot of homelessness, a lot of poverty. So it wasn't the best mall. It was already on its way out. The mall's dead. This whole, I told you, in the back of the balcony where the Improv is the lake. Dead fish. Turned up. You think I'm playing. When that's why I'm saying when the Cavs, when Bron and Kyrie and Kevin Love was killing it, and the Cavs was playing in the finals against the Warriors, and they would show those, because this is how old school I am. My first instinct is to go, which is the NBA on NBC. But that new one from ABC that they play, I can't even remember the jingle, but they would always show whenever the game was in Golden State, the city from the blimp shot. Whenever they would show Cleveland, they would show this lake.
What's the name of this area? Do you know? I forgot the name of it. Where the lake is?
Toilet. They would show the lake, and they would show this part on TV, but they wouldn't show the lake. They would show the shit around it. Because if you show the lake, the fish are dead. The mall is dead. This whole place, there's a reason. Cleveland stinks.
Dude, it's so mean for you to go after Cleveland that way.
It stinks.
But you even said to me, you go, who would have, because there's a wedding going on in the hotel, and the hotel's a little odd.
It's weird.
It's also lost a lot of its businesses in here.
Yes.
And so there's 2 weddings going on, and Aries goes, who would have a wedding in this hotel? And I go, who would have a wedding in Cleveland? It was just
goodness.
I'm not trying to be mean to Cleveland. The people here have been good. The people that I've met are nice people. But to this city,
Cleveland is like a relative you love, a little brother, but he's always got snot in his nose. He got a booger hanging out. This nigga pisses himself. It's your family, but goddamn, nigga.
That's why I think they call it the land. It's the common denominator. It's the easiest, simplest. Where do you live? Some land. We got some land here. What is it? A city? It's land.
If I could name Cleveland, it would be the thing that I shoot out of my ass on the podcast. Cleveland is the quarterback is toast.
No,
matter of fact, that's what I should do for a little while. See how that rings. Every time I fart, I'm gonna go Cleveland, or either go just a bit outside.
I like just a bit outside.
I'm gonna try that for a little while.
Listen, but I have no problem with Cleveland, other than it's just it's COVID really it was already having a hard time. It was coming back, and then COVID really set it back. Man, if
COVID was a city.
Okay,
Cleveland.
There you go. But here's the thing that gets me about Cleveland, too. I talked football a little bit with some people out here, and I made a little reference that they built the brand new stadium, which is a beautiful stadium, but you didn't put a top on it. And the reason you probably don't go to playoffs is your players don't like to play when it's cold outside. And everybody laughed about it. And then I thought about it, though. But I think that there's something about, like, Pittsburgh, that they're so caught up in what Pittsburgh has, which Pittsburgh isn't the greatest place in the world either.
Yeah, okay, good point.
Okay, but they're so caught up in it, in the rivalry.
Right.
That they built the same similar if they would have if they could have done a dome stadium and a player had a chance to go to Pittsburgh and play for the Steelers, which is there's reasons why you'd want to do that, or come to Cleveland and play in a dome stadium where you get to play in better weather. It make it easier to come. They didn't want to do that. They wanted to do something that looked again like Pittsburgh. Like the Steelers. It's just something I don't understand. And maybe I'm wrong. I could be completely off on that. It just seems like that rivalry's, they want to be something else.
Well, I will say this, and I know Andy had been wanting to do this the last 2 or 3 times we made it to Cleveland, but I could just never get out of bed because
depression in Cleveland.
But we finally made it to a very popular what would we call this? I don't know, thing to do.
I would call it the staple of going.
The staple of Cleveland.
Being here downtown.
Yes. And it's only like literally a couple blocks from the hotel. We finally checked out the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I enjoyed it immensely.
Yeah.
So this is a gold star for Cleveland.
Dude, I don't understand why every time I would ask people about it, they go, it's hard. It's just pictures. There's so much history there,
dude. It was such great musical history, and I don't know if artifacts is the right. It's so right.
Yeah,
musical artifacts from the rock and roll and rap and it was some cool shit. If I was younger, I wouldn't have appreciated it, but as you get older, things like documentaries and museums and shit start to appeal to you.
Well, yeah, and a lot of people would say it's just memorabilia, but I think memorabilia is like something that is easy to be found. These, I think of them as artifacts because they're not easy pieces to be found. These things are in there,
right?
And it's curated and it's collected, and it was cool seeing some of the things that existed at a certain time period. You can kind of feel that. I don't know. There's a connection when you see something that was made, like James Brown's clothes that are up there. There's a connection, like you feel more of a connection when you see like what he was wearing on stage, and see like Bootsy Collins' outfit, which I think Bootsy Collins is one of the greatest characters in music.
Yeah,
and to see his outfit that's made, it was just cool because
Bootsy Collins seems like that's not a put on. That's who he is.
I think that might
24/7.
But what's cool about him is if he's not wearing all that stuff, he could go out and he could be himself.
Yeah, but he would never go out without wearing that stuff.
Yeah, but if he needed to be away from fame, if he needed to go out and do something, I think he could get away with it without because, then it's not Bootsy Baby. It's
Bootsy Baby. And it was weird because, I told Andy, when you walk in, like there's 6 levels. And to me, the first level was kind of like where it was all at. And there was a picture of Fats Domino in the mirror prepping his hair, but it was in color.
Yeah, got color.
And it was so weird to see that because every image I'd ever seen of Fats Domino was in black and white. So to see it in color, it made him feel real now. You know what I mean? Like, holy shit, that's Fats Domino. And the way he was prepping his hair, like, real cool and suave, like brothers do, especially back in that era because he had the perm. It made me see it in a different light.
Well, I like how it starts off when you go down to that first room, and Holland Wolf is one of the first people that you see.
Right.
And I think he, unfortunately, he's missed in his importance in rock music. And then, obviously, white culture skipped over that whole period because they don't really tune into rock until you get to, like, Elvis.
Right.
Because that's where they were brought in.
Right.
So all that is missed. And there's just so many... If you get that history before and you listen to that music that was before rock was considered rock.
Well, I love the part like when you walk in and you see this wall and it says early influences. And there's, and I should have wrote his name down, but there was maybe like 2 white guys.
Les Paul.
Yes, on that. But everybody from the Ink Spots to Howlin' Wolf, excuse me, Bessie Smith, Diana Washington, the Soul Stirrers, and Mahalia Jackson. And I just loved it because I felt like it was an homage to the truth, the early influences, which predominantly with the exception of who you said, Les Paul.
Les Paul was a big deal.
One other guy.
He was the inventor of the electric guitar.
Okay.
Well,
that's huge.
Yeah.
But yeah, black folks, and I only bring that up because, that often sometimes gets pushed under the rug.
Well, but in that, as funny as it was, because I enjoyed when you did see, now I'm going to forget her name. Who sang Hound Dog?
I wrote it down.
Yeah.
Big Mama Thornton.
Right, that's right.
Because they had a TV screen, and what was great is it literally took you from the 30s, 40s, 50s, like from almost the beginning to current, and they were just constant images of showing you singers and the songs they sang. And when they cut to her, you ain't nothing but a hound dog. And I was like, now that's one of Elvis's most famous songs. A black woman did that first.
Yeah, and then I said to you, that's okay.
2 Jews wrote it, which I didn't know. So Andy checkmate me.
Because it's important to understand at that beginning of music.
Jerry Lieber and Mike Stoller are the 2 Jewish guys that wrote it.
They used to have, at the record companies, would have writers on staff, and they would pay them to write songs. And so then the companies would own those songs. The record companies own the songs.
Right.
And then they would deliver that music to songs where people were saying, yeah, but all this music, everybody else, stole music from this person, that person. No, the record companies got it from the writers. The writers gave it to the record companies. And the record companies would give it to, they didn't care how many people they gave it to because they owned it. Whoever got the hit made the record company the money.
Right.
So we think that the way we've been shown it lately is that people are stealing it. It was always out there. People took, the record companies were giving the money giving the songs to everyone, and they were recording, and that's a lot of how it went down. But and I'm going to say her name wrong again. So go ahead and say it. What was her name again?
Big Mama
Thornton, because I just know her as Big Mama. She was playing the Les Paul in that, and she's one. And this is where music can get missed. She's one of the best guitar players at that time. At that time, she's one of the best guitar players.
I didn't even know she played guitar.
That's what she's playing.
Wow.
She fucking can kill it. Listen, man, there's so much that's missed. That's why it's important to have things like this Rock and Roll Hall of Fame to go check it out, because people just think it's like posters. It's not. It's giving you history.
But again, and not to, rub on Andy's butt cheeks, but, the fact that, again, I love how you're immersed in this shit, man. Like you know about black artistry and black singers and some of the background and the stories. And I think that's, again, that adds to the GTA legend.
But here's what I'm going to say about that. I'm an American. And when you're an American, you should know your American history. And black history is American history.
But again, for a lot of people, American history don't include.
Now, I don't think that it's not that it's included. I don't think I think that it was pushed away by people that are afraid of the history. Because if you take black history and what the importance of the black community is to developing America, you also have to take how black people got to America. And I think that white America, especially in that time period when rock music was created, are afraid of that. And I think that's why I think that the accomplishments sometimes get hidden because they're afraid of what was going on with both Jim Crow. I fuck that all the time up because I have my fucking also my motorcycle shit in my head too. Jim Crow and slavery. So when you have those two, and then you have the civil rights movement coming up upon a time when before rock was created before, but then in the same time period where white and black were coming together, I think there's a lot of fear there. I'm not justifying it. I'm saying why I think it was that way.
Right.
And I hope that, like, as the generations go, we should be better. But see, when you take someone to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and you can talk about it, and we talked about Elvis too while we were there. Right. I mean, it changes some things. It changes some views.
As you go through, and what's so great again about the first floor, because I really thought, and here's what I thought, because when we got there, it was like 12:30, and I'm like, in my mind, I'm going, okay, we can only spend so much time here because we got the show. And we're halfway through the first floor and it's 1:30. And I'm like, damn, there's 6 floors. If they're all like this, we might not get out of here till 5 when they close. But the rest of the floors were nowhere near as extensive or elaborate as the first. So while we're going through the first floor, there's the big sections. There's the Beatles. and then there's Elvis. And so we're in the Elvis section, and they're playing on the TV clips of Elvis songs. They're talking historical facts and moments. And it was like, I love the fact that Elvis gave his credit from where it came from. He was in those blues clubs. He was in them clubs in Memphis and Nashville and those black joints, singing and dancing and grooving with all those black artists. He was in there. So that's why when they cut to that clip, which we've played here on the podcast, of Ray Charles going, yeah, I'm not impressed by Elvis, because all that hip swinging and, leg thrusting and all that pelvis and shit, we've been doing that. He just basically took what we doing and they label him the king of rock and roll. But we've been doing that.
But as you said, they labeled him. He never said he was the king of anything. And Michael Jackson never said, I'm the king of pop. You get labeled that. And that interview that was in Jet magazine that was by Elvis, where he was saying something about, I don't even remember the quote anymore. Because I did the research, and if you do the research at that time, back then, that article got killed because they knew that it was a fake article. He wasn't in town. He never did that interview that was put together. And I believe that was put together actually by nefarious white folks that didn't want that crossover music to come. So if you kill Elvis's momentum, then you kill the crossover. And that's what I think it was from. But that isn't real. The statement where Elvis talks about that this music was black music, and that's where he learned to play the music. But Elvis is so entrenched in Memphis and in that music, in that sound, in those clubs, and people are not going to like what I'm going to say, but that music was much a part of him as who he was as a person, as a human being, as Eminem is to hip hop. No one's saying that he stole it because he was entrenched in it. Elvis was the same way.
Listen, throughout history, in all forms of entertainment, all facets, there's always a white guy that can do it just as good as the brothers, but he's always taught by the brothers.
Right. And there's no denying where it came from.
Right.
That's not the point. I just don't like that you have to tear him down in some way because it's not necessary. He gave credit where credit was due. Look at who he played with. Look at the people he wanted to be around. And I always say this too. Where did Elvis die? In Memphis. Elvis didn't leave home. Elvis did have places outside of Memphis, but Elvis was true to who he was, stayed there. But Elvis wasn't smart, you guys. Anybody who, and I was telling Aries about this, Elvis gave 50% of his money to his manager. He thought he owed the Colonel 50%. That's what he was given at the beginning of his career. That's what he paid through the end of his career. The Colonel ripped him off, and Elvis was such a loyalist that he didn't even want to hear about the fact that he was.
But when you go, Elvis isn't smart. You know why that is. Where's Elvis from? The South. Out the Mississippi.
Dude, I just wish, and then when Chuck D did the song, and Chuck D talks about
and
it.
Elvis was a hero to most, but he never get to me as he something the sucker was racist and plain. Motherfucking man, John Wayne.
Yeah, but Chuck D talks about that too. That was an old article. You guys got to get, if you have passionate angst against Elvis, do just a little bit of the reading, and you'll be able to finish this real quick.
But you said something to me in the car yesterday on the way to the club that I didn't know, that I didn't really think about. When you talk about how going back a little bit to the writers and how the music industry has always worked, because the music industry has always been made to fuck the artists.
Always.
And then, of course, in the museum, when you get to the little Motown section,
right,
and you go, Berry Gordy fucked a lot of those artists. But yet, back then, especially when you see the Showtime documentary, Motown, which is a great 2-hour documentary, they literally were a factory of grooming artists. Everything from the way you dress, to the way you spoke for interviews, to the way you performed, the way you danced. They had the way musicians and how you played. It was almost like at the Motown home/factory.
It was a factory.
Yeah, you went, there were classes. You had to go, there were different rooms for different things. All right, so next week, we're going to work on your dances. This person's going to tell you how to talk and do speech. So you would think, okay, here's Berry Gordy, the father of this, this beautiful black empire, making stars out of great black artists. But then you're fucking them.
You had to break away for him to make your right money or be ultra famous. But see, again, this goes back to the music industry. Barry Gordy could have went, well, listen, this is my opportunity to take care of the black community. This is mine.
Surely he knew what was right and wrong.
Yeah, and I'm sure that he did take care of some people, and some people did get fucked over because they're part of the factory. But the thing is, he saw what the industry was, the music industry, and this is how it was done, and this is how people became successful and made, companies and built companies, and they grew their companies and they made money and acquired wealth, and that's what they saw. So there's two ways that you can go about this. You can either say, I see what's been done to mine, and I want to make a difference and change that way that it's been done, or you say, I see the way that business is done, and I want to be a leader. I want to have a big company. I want to be successful. And you go by the way of the business. And I'm going to say something that I haven't said these kind of things in a while because we don't want to be racial all the time. And I get that. But that's the same path. When you go and you examine, when we go back into periods of slavery, when certain black folks got freed and they wanted to be businessmen, they also owned slaves. Because they went the way of the business, not the way of what's right for the people.
Yeah, I'm not historically, I don't know if I'm using this right word, inept to address that. But I feel like my spidey sense tells me there are going to be some emails.
Oh, yeah, there's going to be tons.
People telling you why you're off on that or what the difference is.
The difference is, there is no difference. The reason it happened is because when you come to America and you're going to be American and you see a way to become a titan of business, you go with the way that business is shown you, despite what your character and your person says inside you. And we're facing this today as we watch Wall Street. Wall Street has never cared about the people. They care about the business, and they go with the way that the business runs. Do you think that $500 million is what a CEO should be making? Well, the people on the lowest level of the company make less than $20 an hour.
Right.
So
I hear you.
This is the way business in America has worked.
So in other words, even when you know it's not right and it's wrong, for the sake of the business, you're gonna fuck people over because that's just how the business is.
That's how the business is, and I'm not trying to put right or wrong on it. I go, that's the way that people experience this capitalist society, and that's the way they saw it working. That's the way they went. I didn't say everyone did that, but if you want to go back in history and you're willing to go ahead and take those steps, you'll see that that's what's happened, and that's the reason why it happened that way.
I just looked up inept. I used it correctly. Inept, you gotta do what you gotta do for the sake of the fucking basis. Just to be fucking clear here, Hesh is not the only guy that fuck guys over. I know he gets a bad rep because of fucking Jew and you think he wants to go to fucking money. But for the record, fucking look at the Barry Gordy. He fucked over his own fucking people. So it's not just the Jews that fuck over the blacks, it's the blacks that fuck over the blacks. Let's not make it a fucking understanding.
Now let me get this clear. I'm not suggesting that black people just fuck over black people. That's not what I was saying.
Right.
I'm saying that the business, in the way people have done business, lays out a plan, and if you follow that business, you could end up fucking over your own. That's what I'm saying.
It's just a fucking coincidence that it's that fucking way across the board.
But that happens.
Right.
And it's just like, it's the same as the Jews in the Holocaust that sided with the Germans so that they could, and that they worked at the camps, and they brought people that were trying to escape or to have other plans, and they brought them there because they wanted to survive. I mean, you look at the plan for survival and you decide what side you're going to be on. And that's what it is. I wasn't putting a right or wrong on it. I was just putting the fact that that's the way it is.
You know, you said something, as we're going through the museum, that I absolutely, again, for me, was an eyebrow raiser. And I was like, I had these moments where sometimes Andy says shit. I go, look at you. And you gave a lot of love to Mahalia Jackson. And you said, why don't more people know about her? And listen, I'm not a big gospel dude. I'm not a big religious guy in that way. Gospel music, I think sometimes, and forgive me if I'm calling you a fanatic, but I mean, other than going to church on a Sunday where you obviously are going to hear the Lord's work and the Lord speak and the choirs and the bishops and the reverends, who listens to gospel outside of church? Like, who sits at home just going, let me listen to some gospel? But Mahalia was the Michael Jordan of gospel.
Dude, but it didn't make a difference what she was saying. She could have sang gum commercials. And you would have sold more gum. Her voice.
I'm saying she's the Michael Jackson, Michael Jordan of gospel music, because she was, I don't know if there's ever been a gospel singer that has been held to such higher esteem than her.
But if you're not into gospel music, but you hear her voice, you stop. Whitney Houston's The Anthem, when she
which is to this day, hands down, no one has beat that. But close second, Marvin Gaye. Yeah.
But different. But yes,
very different.
But that, I mean, you could listen to that over and over, and you're not listening to the national anthem. I mean, you are, but you're not. You're listening to this fucking voice.
Right.
And same with Mahalia Jackson, man. Her voice, just no matter what it was. And I just wish more people knew what that was, because that would hold us to a higher standard, in music.
I know that comedians have done jokes about it. And this falls within the vein of the white people, black people. But, church, I guess the joke to some degree is when white people are in church, they don't get Holy Ghost and get crazy like niggas do. So when you hear almost white gospel, it's almost angelic. And the Lord, where I wonder if a Mahalia Jackson would be too much for white folks. So when you go, they don't know about her like they should. Because, that's the top of the soul. And that comes with, chicken grease in a brown paper bag. And that's soulful. That might be too much for some white folks.
But in the South, they do get into gospel, into church that way. The white folks do. Not all white folks.
Right.
Some white folks do. I mean, I went to church in certain parts of Louisiana and Texas when I was younger, and it was a mixed church,
right?
And man, that was church. That was a whole different life. And so yeah, I think there's people are ready for it. But I'm talking about just musically, the standard we would hold if some of these artists were brought back out. And I hope with maybe with some simple technology and the way that we ingest our music today, that we could get some of these artists easy access so that people know more about these artists.
When black folks get the Holy Ghost, it's funny. When white people get the Holy Ghost, it's spooky. They look possessed.
Well, that's because it's robotic and they don't move the same.
Or they move in such a way where you think the devil is going through them.
Well, or they have snakes. You see those white?
Oh yeah, I've seen. Yeah. When black people get the Holy Ghost, we look like we stomping roaches.
I will say though that at the museum, one thing that I, even though there was a small, like you said, Motown section, the Stevie Wonder section, there wasn't enough for Stevie Wonder.
I'm gonna say this: there wasn't enough for Stevie Wonder. The hip hop section should have been much bigger.
You know what? I think it needs its own section, if not its own floor.
There you go. Because when we saw, and I know before we went there, you said specifically, I want to see the hip hop section. And when we came on it, I didn't even know it was a section. I just thought this is a nice piece so far, but where's the section? That was it.
Well, and to be true to what it is, if you take hip hop and you take punk rock music that was occurring at the same time,
right,
and even worked together in some venues because neither hip hop nor punk could get venues, and so they would work together. They were about the same size, but I think strategically in the way it was placed, I think punk got more than hip hop did, and hip hop is obviously larger than punk, and that's why I think it needs its own floor. But I understand that this is supposed to be, quote, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, but hip hop music is its own genre in its own right, but it's part of rock and roll still too. So it needs it needs that.
Like I thought it was so cool to see Biggie's Big Papa leather jersey that he wore, and I was like, and then also to see some of the handwritten set notes from Tupac and his set list, and I thought that was kind of cool, man.
Dude, two things, man. If they ever start one for comedians, it's great. If I ever got famous enough that I could be included in something like that, I hope they don't find my notes, because I am so dyslexic.
Well, no, they would just have to cut off your hand and put that in a glass case because you write all your shit on your hand.
Yeah, I write my shit on my hand. But I on my notes, when I do write notes, it's always, I'm dyslexic, so nothing's spelled right.
Right.
Everybody, I always used to laugh because if somebody said, I left my notebook on the table once. I go, yeah, we're going to go through and get your new jokes. I go, dude, you couldn't even read those jokes.
Right.
So,
speaking of artists who people should know more about, and you know, growing up, I remember when we would do Gotham, and I just pointed out to you, yo, this is where my dad used to sell tapes. There used to be a store over here, and da-da-da-da. Well, you know, I remember being on that corner on West 23rd Street when my dad would sell tapes, and he would play various artists to help draw the people into the table and go, oh, that's such and such. Oh, do y'all have such and such? And one of his favorite artists was Jackie Wilson. And I'm like, you know, you talk about James Brown, Michael Jackson, Jackie's the guy they study. Like that Jackie with performance-wise, in terms of his, not just, you know, the fact that he was an awesome singer, but the way he moved, the way he physically, what he did on stage. Jackie Wilson was a bad motherfucker. And I know a lot of people don't know about him.
No, but, and how much, there wasn't enough, how many spaces did he occupy in there?
Oh, a corner.
Yeah.
And a small corner.
Yeah. No, but again, with history, I guess they're trying to also get enough stuff to appeal to the masses because that's what they want to come see. I would love to be a curator. I got it right, but I had to slow it down for some of this stuff. I would love a floor that was just on early rock and just like really got in depth on what happened to get this, because the story of when you're in it, when you're younger, you're very close to what's happening now or slightly before you.
Right.
But if you can get the history to understand what America was like, you know, because you asked a question too, and Tara asked me the same question: why Cleveland? Why is this in Cleveland? And then that's what people don't. That's pretty important because Cleveland's very important to rock and roll because this is where. You know, the radio station, I forgot the DJ that, and see, I forget this because I don't, it's not like I read about this daily, but this is, you know, where, the radio station was launching rock music out to mass audiences, and it's kind of really happened here in Cleveland and in the dance halls. And this is where people would come to play music that both black and white would come to. Until the police would come. This is, I mean, Cleveland does have a very important place, a very important part in rock. And then we were talking about, and just little things that people don't know. Wolfman Jack, who was this...
Wolfman Jack. I used to do a Wolfman Jack impression.
Yeah, and I said to you, Wolfman Jack was a black dude.
I never knew that.
Yeah, and the reason but a lot of people think that he was a white dude, and that's how...
Well, he was very fair-skinned.
He's very... I mean, I don't know his lineage. I'm assuming that he's mixed.
White, really? All right.
I'm assuming that he's mixed because he is very light. Yes. But that being said, that's how he pulled this off. And there's this connection to music and how things get put together and who he is and what rock is. And I just, you know, this is something that could be very exciting to people when they study history. And when you're in school, they teach you all about history that you should know, but make some history exciting. I mean, we're really connected to this musical form, I think, in this country. Why can't we have a little bit more of this? There's something that's exciting that really can teach. I think that this is, and it's very close. I mean, it's not an old art form.
Right.
And it's been updated several times as we've gone on, you know? Right. And that's why I think hip hop is important to include in this, because it's also part of it. It's a branch of this whole thing that continues to grow out. And
it was great too, because, you know, when, of course, going through the hip hop thing, you come across Public Enemy. And, you know, it's like, dude, you forget almost because of the clownishness of him. But say what you will, man, Flavor Flav played a pivotal role in rap's history.
Well, Public Enemy did.
Yes, and he's part of that, a very integral part of that.
Well, in 50 years from now, are you going to remember Flavor Flav, or are you going to remember Chuck D?
The scary thing is, I would like to say Chuck D, but Flavor Flav is such a cartoon.
That's who you're going to remember. So he's important because so important. Because
but does it dilute how important it is when you're remembered for the wrong reasons?
Yeah, you're not going to be remembered for the wrong reason because, like I said, if people actually put time into it and read and listen and research and do, we ingest so many things. It's funny because this is just our brains. And I'm going to relate this way. People are going to actually hear how my brain works and understand why I'm so fucked up all the time. I relate what we do to like COVID because everybody's fighting about COVID, what is good for your body, bad for your body, how we ingest it. We need to know what's in it. We need to do, and you say all those things, but we accept all these other things. And music is part of the things we accept. But we know nothing. Most people don't know enough about it. Right. But you ingest it, you take it in, and you don't even know it's past, it's history, it's form. Right. And everything has a form. Everything has a history. Everything has an origin where it's happened. I mean, we should know more about this stuff. When we eat food, we accept fast food because we don't know really how good food is cooked anymore. Right. But if you put effort into food, you would learn how good food is cooked, and you probably wouldn't want a fucking Big Mac because you'd go, "Nah, that's garbage." Right. I guess that ends our affiliation with any McDonald's advertising that we're going to get.
Really, my last note on this, where is the, and again, when you say it's rock and roll, I guess the things in my brain that get associated with what rock and roll is guitars, 80s heavy metal or big hair bands. And I'm going, all right, well, if we're going to include the genre of rhythm and blues and hip hop into this museum, let's really give it its due. I wish there had been more of a section and a big acknowledgement to Aretha Franklin and Marvin Gaye. Because I said to you at one point while we were in the hip hop thing, as I'm looking at Biggie's jersey, I'm going, God, if he stayed alive, man, what he would have done or where he could have taken rap would have been interesting to know where he would have taken it right now. And I go, if Marvin Gaye didn't die, what more of a contribution he would have made to music and where he could have taken it? Where is the Marvin Gaye biopic?
Man, maybe you should get the rights to it and we can produce it.
Look at you. Oh, way to go, Hesh. That's how you fucking think.
Well, but the thing is, in what year was Sexual Healing?
I don't know.
But it was 70s, right? It was before the 80s. It was late 70s.
Probably late 70s.
A black man in America put out a song, Sexual Healing, that is nationally accepted, where you're going to get it radio play.
It was smooth. He was smooth.
What,
man.
Like you just said, what could have he done in a period where more?
Now you just sing and go, I'm gonna put my dick in your mouth, and there it is.
No, but he could have sang that song, but it would have been a lot cooler. I'm gonna put it wouldn't be a rap song. It wouldn't be I'm putting my dick in your mouth. It wouldn't be WAP. It would be a song that he was smooth enough to tell you he just fucked you and left you at home.
You know I wanna love you, but I'm afraid to let you know. I'm gonna pull my dick out and you gonna see. And one click will make it grow. Open up your mouth. I know that's that's not even Marvin Gaye. Yeah. I think that's somebody else, but I'm just, whatever.
But that was smooth. That's right. That's kind of, and I'm not taking anything away from hip hop because I grew up with that early hip hop, which is my favorite genre of music, is that early hip hop. But there's something about being able to say something when you didn't say it. You painted it. You painted the picture.
Trying, baby, trying to hold back this feeling for so long. Baby. Oh, dude, I'm telling you. At one point, I would watch him sing that national anthem on YouTube several times a year. Because they should have just changed his name to Pussy Moisturizer. Because that rendition of fucking the anthem is so fucking smooth.
You know who's not up there, though? Did you see Al Green? Did you see any Al Green in there? I didn't see.
No.
And you know who's got me?
And that's a travesty.
And you know who got me more ass than anyone else? Al Green. You could talk all you want about everybody else, and I get Marvin Gaye where he is, right? But Al Green got me fucked.
I didn't see any Al Green, dude.
No, very disappointing to me.
Oh, how could they do that? Oh, yeah. They should have had a grit section.
just a little counter,
right?
And you get some grits, and you listen to.
Matter of fact, when you walk in, there's a little cafe where you get some food. They should have had Al Green's grits.
That would have been perfect.
Tastes better off you than in you. All right. That's it, man.
Dude, but highly recommend going to.
Please. There's not much here in Cleveland, but it is really a nice. And I said to you, look, we're here. It's winter. It's snow all over the ground. It's ice cold. I thought to myself, man, if this was a nice spring afternoon, walk over. We could even walk over then. Walk over to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, get a little bite to eat. That would have been a little nicer.
No, but there is one thing we forgot to talk about, though. As we were leaving, I wanted to go to the gift shop. I wanted to get a hat or something from there. Right. And then Aries calls me over. I'm standing in line. Aries goes, come over here. I'll take a place in line. Go ahead. Tell the story, though, because it's funny. It'll be funny.
Dude, there was this small little black child, little girl. And the way she was sitting, her posture, and she was cupping her face with her hair. She looked so goddamn bored. Like this is not Disneyland. And I wanted to take a picture because her expression, her posture, and I was like, that's why I told Eddie, yo, you gotta see this. Her fucking, if words were a picture, oh man, she was screaming, this sucks.
Yeah. And what was so funny, Aries called me over there, and so then I walk over there and I look, and then I finally pay and we're leaving, and she's still sitting there. She's still disappointed. She's still angry that there's no fucking something that she wanted to see there. Right. And I said, man, and I pulled out my phone like I want to get it. I looked at Aries and I go, that's creepy if I get a picture right. He goes, yeah, creepy. And I go, yeah, I'll put my phone back.
Plus you an old white man with beard and shit, nigga, glasses. It just had petty written all over it.
That's why I put. I as soon as I pulled out my phone to do it, I go, no, this is gonna look really weird.
Right.
Yeah, no. So, but I said it out loud because I realized what a fucking mistake I was about to make. But it was so funny. She was so. It was. You know when you're so past anger that you have that vibe. She was there. She was past.
Oh
anger.
yeah.
She was in this whole place. She didn't even care if the place would have blown up at that moment. It was just done.
Okay, now I'm ready to move on.
Yeah, because it's going to feed right into it, right?
Yes. Dude, folks, if you got Hulu, go to the search, the magnifying glass, type in CNN, and then once you get there, look for A&E's I Want My MTV. The doc. Fucking awesome. 80s nostalgia. Again, history of music. History of something that, if you're my age, I was there from the birth. Andy and I both were. We were there from the birth of MTV, all throughout the life of MTV. I don't want to say the death of MTV, but the fact that they don't play music videos anymore. Now it's a show where they play network programming. So we were there. We didn't like these kids today who come in only seeing LeBron, so they don't have a fair assessment. We were there from the beginning, nigga. So we've seen the birth of Jordan, all of Jordan, the retirement of Jordan, and now whatever this new age is, fine, great too. But we can make a fair assessment.
Before we go into this, I just thought it was funny because last night when I was talking about, I have this joke where I talk a little bit about my ex and how she left. I had to raise the kids, and I was just sitting there for a second. They weren't really getting what I wanted to say, or I don't think they got it. So I go, she LeBron me. Oh. And they went, it wasn't even like an outward, like, like you just, it was like, like they're so fed up.
Right.
That was my favorite part of the night.
Do you like Did you like MTV when it was just music videos, or do you like it the way it is now?
Okay, so I was there from the inception. Mm-hmm. I loved it. There were certain VJs that I absolutely did not like.
Right. I forget my man Bill Bellamy was an MTV VJ.
But see, Bill Bellamy even came after. Well, he's in the later incarnation of VJs. I'm not an Alan Hunter fan. I did not like Alan Hunter. But before I go any further,
that was the main guy, right?
That was the blonde guy.
Oh, the blonde guy.
Yeah, Nina Blackwood was.
Who was the guy that interviewed David Bowie?
Mark Goodman.
Okay.
Alan Hunter just bugged me. He didn't feel right. Anyway, that all said, when I got in, I wasn't watching. By the time I was like really doing real man shit, I guess, getting married. And I was out, right? I wasn't watching MTV. And when I cut back in, it was done. I was like, where did the videos go? And then so everybody said, you got to go to VH1. VH1 is where all the videos went. So I didn't see the death. I didn't see them carrying out the video bodies.
Right.
I just, I didn't get sad about it, but yeah, and then I saw what they did with some of the programming. So, but yeah, I kind of missed the death, and I wonder where it went. But I mean, obviously, in today's world with YouTube and you can access a video anytime, anywhere you want to. It makes sense why it left.
Okay,
but I was disappointed.
Well, they said that in the early part of the documentary, and again, here's what I love so much. Like, I love triumph stories. Because as I'm trying to move forward in life, trying to win on the ultimate level, I love hearing stories about things that started out. Of course, you're the underdog. People are telling you can't make it. You're getting rejected by everywhere you go. And then, of course, once you blow up, and I mean really blow up, now everybody wants a piece of you. Now the same people that rejected you want to be in your business. Now the same people that hated you want to love you and tell you they always had your back and supported you. So I love these kind of stories. But once you make it and corporate digs, that's at some point you go from the underdog to now my shit don't stink, and corporate gets their hands in you, and then they know how to kill something that was great when it started.
Yeah. Yeah. Always.
One of the first things they talk about early, I forget what they called it. Where they got the idea from MTV. It was a show called
Pop Video.
Pop something.
Was it Pop Video?
I don't think it was videos. I think it was Pop something.
Pop music. Pop. I don't remember. Okay.
It was Pop something. But, and that time was like the late 60s. And they showed a clip of the Monkees.
Yeah.
I just remember being a kid, and obviously that was before I was born, but as I was a kid growing up in the 80s, that show was syndicated. And they would put hey, we're the Monkees. Da-na-na-na-na-na-na. Did you like that? I loved that show as a kid.
I did like the show. And I really look forward to it. My mom had to find it for me because I wanted to see it. So yeah, I like the Monkees.
And to go back to my point, because I almost lost it for a second. The guy in the beginning, when they first pitched the idea of MTV goes, you can't have a show of just music videos.
That was a TV executive.
TV executive. Now, of course, he was wrong, but the guy says at the end of the documentary, he was right.
Yeah, but he wasn't right because he was right for that moment. He was right because in the long term, technology caught up, and that's why they became irrelevant, because you could get video from YouTube. You can get video from elsewhere.
But do you think that's what it really was? Because that might have been part of it, but they also alluded to the fact that even before that,
it was
ratings were going down, because I think one of the things they said was it started to all feel the same. The rock bands, the looks, the music, the sound, the gimmicks, the over sexualization of women, the big hair. It just all started feeling the same.
Because, again, and you said it best, when the artist isn't the one producing the artwork, it goes in a different direction. So what do people usually do? If a business says, okay, what red is selling, right?
Right.
So all of a sudden, everybody's making red, whatever it is. And then next year you go into the Marshalls or the Ross, the discount places, and everything is red because everybody went in that direction. And it can't be everybody.
Right.
When you do a sexual video and then the producers or the people that are providing the money for the videos, the record companies are going, no, it has to be more set. We need women. We need titties. We need this.
Right.
That's what it's all going to become the same. I think the artist should really if the artist was to run their music, it'd be phenomenal. Listen, Tone Loc, who they didn't bring up in this, it made me mad that they didn't bring it up. Because
real quick, don't lose that point, because you brought that up. Should he have been in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
Oh,
especially
definitely.
in the rap section.
And yeah, but
even with only 2 hits, Funky Cold Medina and Wild Thing.
His influence on that music at that moment, where everyone was going in this direction, spending millions of dollars on a video, and they even said we were getting I think it was the band Heart was saying something about now it's $1 million videos, and I had to come up front because I was the thinner one of the group.
Right.
That video that Tone Loc does, Funky Comodina, $600. Someone who spent $2 million on a video, he spent $600. Artistically, his video was just as good as that $2 million video.
I don't know if it was just as good. I think that speaks more to the music. That song caught on.
The song caught on, but the video was good. He had the record player built into the guitar.
Right.
And they're scratching on the guitar. And this is, okay, and by the way, this is why I say rock and hip hop are intertwined. He had a record player in the guitar. If that doesn't show a merger of two, like a rock guitar with the
right.
record player in it, I don't know what does.
Well, I do know what does, but I'm gonna save that a little bit. I'm gonna save that.
Okay, but that's if the artist is in control, and again, going back to like spending $2 million and everything looking the same, and then it falls out of favor. The logo of MTV, when they show how that logo was made.
I love that. I love that story.
Dude, I think it's just, if you let artists be artists and let people who have progressive thought, let them think, and don't try to control everything, that logo exists completely because you're not trying to control everything.
Dude, I told you, I've said it a million times. That is the golden key that is so unattainable, or it's more attainable now than it used to be in the past. But yes, if artists could have creative control and the powers that be, the people, the suits that sign the checks, just leave artists the fuck alone to do what they do best, there it is.
Yeah, and to be honest to the people that control money and do that. Yeah, artists are crazy. Artists will go out on a limb. Artists will, if you give them enough rope, can't hang themselves. But pick the artist. If you pick the artist because they're that talented, you gotta leave them alone. The idea that if it would have been anyone else in a professional capacity that was looking for that logo,
right,
and they would have said, "Okay, I can't decide between these 23 or however what he said, how many logos there were,
right,
but they were all the basic MTV logo." Yeah. They wouldn't have done that. They would have said, "Okay, let's do this pattern," and that would have been it. And then they.
But I like what he said when he said, I got all of them.
Yeah.
Because music is always changing.
But that was someone who's thinking outside of a commercial box where they go, no, a logo has to be stagnant. Coca-Cola, I see that. That logo never changes. This never changes. That's what MTV was all about. Change. Because it's constantly changing. As you said, he was able to figure that out. Would a regular commercial person be able to figure that out? I don't know if they would have. When you don't have all the money in the world to do something, and it occurs with your natural influence, not because you're trying to create it. It's occurring because we're working in the same mode in a symbiotic way with it.
Right.
That's when shit happens in a great way.
When they were talking closer towards the end of MTV and its run, again, they brought up the objectification of women. And I got to read, I'm going to read from my notes because I don't understand why there's always a huge objection to the objectification of women, especially in the form of music and entertainment. Listen, women are sexy creatures, okay? Ass and titties is gorgeous to look at. And if you have a great face and a nice pair of legs to go with it, all the more. A woman in heels half naked or with as little on as possible sells because it's a powerful visual and physical stimulant. Like, Jesus Christ, what the fuck is it? Why is it like it's always been that way? That's the bottom line. Men like pussy. That's it. If you're a woman in the music game as a video vixen or in a movie that's a comedy or whatever genre it is, and there's a chance for guys to get off on that. What it is, and that's what it is. If you don't want any part of it, stay the fuck out the business. People act like there are guns being put to these women's heads going, all right, straddle yourself over the hood of the car and let me douse you with water so we see your titties a little bit and, we're going to objectify. These women know what it is. They made a choice to be in these videos. They made a choice to do these things. And again, sex sells. It's one of the most reliable oldest, surefire gimmicks ever.
I agree and disagree with you on this. And this is where I disagree. I think women sometimes are seen as that's the only way to get into this business is to objectify yourself. But on the other hand, Tawny Katane, which is in that one Whitesnake video that they referenced in there a couple times with her dancing on the car, Tawny Katane was already famous. She wanted to do that video. So when you're going objectify, and here's a woman who wants to do the video. She wants to be in her boyfriend's video, dancing on the cars, being who she is.
Right.
Is that objectification then?
If she wants to do it?
Yeah.
No.
But they used her. She was one of the people that was highlighted in that. They didn't say her name. Right. They just showed her dancing on the Jags.
Yeah.
Very simple video. She wanted to be in the video. She didn't charge. They wouldn't have been able to afford her to do that video.
Right.
She did it for free.
And let's not act like, come on, man, women don't do wild shit in real life. Jumping on top of bars, dancing, looking like they having same girl on girl sex acts, and when they get a little alcohol in them, wilding in the streets. Like, come on, man. Well,
and when's the last time you heard someone complain about the objectification of a Calvin Klein underwear model?
Okay.
Where's the guy that's going to say, I'm tired of women looking at me this way? I'm tired of
From a man's perspective?
Yeah, I'm tired of having people looking at my huge cock as I stand here on this picture and nothing but my underwear and my abs. You just love me for my abs.
So in other words, Marky Mark never complained.
No. You know what he did? He got paid.
Yeah. Can you feel it, baby?
This side of the street that we live on, we act like it's created solely by us. It is created by us. I understand, because they're the people, men had the access to the boardrooms and continue to fund this so that it could be done this way. Mm-hmm. But that no one ever complains when it's us that, I shouldn't say us because no one's objectifying me. But that's the other part of that. I would love to be objectified.
That's because, again, men love pussy. So whatever helps us get it, what are you going to complain about? The thing is, objectify me. Yes.
Yeah, but the thing is, women love dick. But women act like we have to go through this maze and these hoops to get the fucking shit.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the cruel trap. We got a Tom and Jerry to pussy.
Yeah.
Right.
So, of course, we do all these other things and perform juggling acts and set ourselves on fire for it.
Right.
This is a different conversation, a deeper conversation.
Like, even when they were trying to sell MTV to the higher ups, and the guys were like excited. Yeah, why wouldn't it work? It's sex, drugs, rock and roll. All the intoxicants that make you feel good. That's what music is. It's supposed to work. It's a guaranteed formula. It's like the formula for Coca-Cola. It's guaranteed for you. It's forever.
Okay. Well, and something else we're going to be talking about soon. There's this woman who keeps using this phrase, the male gaze. Fuck, I hate this. The male. Yes, you're going to hear it in this thing that we're looking into.
What thing? This?
No. Coming up. Something that we have on the table.
Oh, okay.
And this chick keeps saying the male gaze. The male gaze. Yes, because we look at you and we objectify you. We look at you and we see things that we like physically in you. Let me ask you this question. How acceptable it is when a elite woman of means marries less than her?
How acceptable?
Or how is it looked at?
I don't even think that happens often.
And if it does, it's because she wanted a toy. We're looked at and objectified, and we're put in a box that we have to be a provider. We have to come with. Right. You better be at a difference. Listen, this goes back and forth, and I'm getting frustrated because I don't like the all or nothing feeling in here. I like we are predators. This is how it always feels. And listen, we are more aggressive. We do objectify. because we look at physical, but we look at all these things are bad right now because we've been in a time of where there is some relative peace, even though there's still wars and stuff. But put us in a situation where we have to go back to a place of the survival of the fittest. It's still, women will compete in this, but it's still men that are going to go out there. And you're going to want dogs. You're not going to want the people that you tamed. You're not going to want pets. You want dogs again.
Right.
This is that we're a product of being a very peaceful, civilized society. And as long as we stay that way, this can happen. But if you keep making us docile, if you keep taking that away, if you want us completely equal, then you have to give up your shit to be equal as well. And then when war or a problem breaks out, where we go into a period where it's every man for himself, and you got to fight. And when I say man, there's a man in a woman. All right, every one of us. Then you're going to have to go out and fight just like that.
I'm going to have to quote comedically a dude in comedy who kind of makes your eyes roll a little bit. Arnez J. Arnez J used to do a thing in his bit where he goes, ladies, you need to understand the difference between black men and knuckles. He goes, let me ask you a question. If any of you black women were to walk out of this building right now and you saw 5 potential white skinhead dudes coming towards you who might rape you, who you want with you? Some African Americans or some knuckles? So when you go, you tame a man, but who do you want? You want dogs. You want a man, goddammit. You want the alpha male. You want the... So, yeah. I also appreciate the fact that, okay, going back to Heart, and there's the 2 sisters. One's blonde, one's dark haired. One got a little larger as she got a little older. And she has a fucking amazing singing voice, but they put the thinner one out who plays guitar. Mm-hmm. Anne, I think it's Anne is the one that was dark hair. And they put her out because in the video, they wanted the thinner, what they would say, sexier one fronting the video. Right.
Okay, I understand how that can make someone feel.
Right.
I understand how it can make me feel. I'm not at my fucking prime fighting weight right now. I have some things that are coming up that I've made some decisions based upon the fact that I don't look like I want to look right now. We're talking about business people. They're looking at a video in a business way, not in an artistic way, not in who has the best voice and who. It's a visual medium, a video.
Right.
So who are you going to put out there?
Yeah. What sells?
Yeah.
The visual cocaine.
Yeah. If Marky Mark's brother would have been Fatty Fat, he wouldn't have got the fucking Calvin Klein fucking underwear.
Right.
It is the way of business. Aesthetically, we go to what is pleasing to our eye and what we like. Listen, if you feel good being big, fantastic. That doesn't mean I have to like how you look big.
Hello. Quick questions. Pat Benatar, hot or not?
She was cute back then.
Blondie, hot or not?
She was hot back then, especially for the genre she was in. She was in a punk rock male genre that was about people like Iggy Pop who were just beating the shit out of themselves and sticking things in their arm and causing themselves. And there's this little blonde girl that was singing this punk rock music. She might not be known for that because Blondie is seen as something else, but she was hot at this. She was hot for her genre and her time.
All right. Dee Snider, hot or not? We're not gonna take it.
Dee Snider is still one of the most interesting people because even when, I know that he's smart enough and he goes in front of Congress and he talks, but even when he's talking to Congress, I'm like, man, I don't know if that's the representation you want there.
It's like Dennis Rodman representing us for North Korea. Yeah. Now here's some of the meat.
Did you comment on the VJs at all? Which was your favorite VJ?
Again, I what my era was the Pauly Shore era.
Oh, see, I was through the originals.
Right.
J.J. Jackson.
Yeah, that was too young for me.
And J.J. Jackson was cool, but he was old.
Right.
So it was, but he had this, he was an older black man, but he still had that, he had the leather coat. He had the
But I want to say for what music is, because it feels like a young person's game, he looked like somebody's daddy trying to. Like,
he was a DJ. I mean, he was a radio guy.
Okay.
So that's how he came.
All right. Okay.
Nina Blackwood, actress. Alan Hunter, actress. But I like Nina Blackwood. No, yeah, she was an actress, but she was also like a rock and roller. Right. Like I felt like she was a rock and roller. And if you saw her movie, again, here I'm going to objectify. It was. Oh, is
that the one they talked about?
Yeah, they did.
With the
and I've seen that movie. That's
what movie is that?
I forgot the name of it. I can look it up real quick, but I'll look it up when we're done. There was a little something. She was dirty.
Is that the movie? I don't think if you heard the clip. There's a clip on Opie and Anthony where Patrice and Jim Norton talk about this movie, where they talk about how violent it is.
Yeah, it's violent.
How raw it is. This might be that movie you're talking about.
It probably is. And there's a little dirtiness to her. And that's what I love.
Right.
And, I'm still in high school, and this chick, it was hot, Yeah. So she was probably my favorite. And then, who's the youngest one? Martha Quinn.
Mm.
I didn't get Martha Quinn. She looked like, I didn't get Martha Quinn. I wasn't mad at her, but she looked like she should be in my class.
Right.
And then obviously Mark Goodman, who I liked, but he had his. We'll get into what his thing is, but yeah, I think Nina Blackwood was mine.
I think MTV is truly what was the springboard to Pauly Shore's run.
Oh, it definitely was.
So we saw, hey buddy, what's going on, buddy?
That's really scarily good.
Dude, it's like contagious, the whistle.
I got to tell you where I lost this is probably where I lost MTV.
Women, he probably got so much pussy in that time.
He did. And I know I had an interesting conversation with him. Didn't get all the information I wanted from him, but I could tell that it almost fucked him up. It was like too much. Right. But when I saw him as the whistle, and he's on MTV, and he started biting his toenails on the bus. Yeah. And I was like, if this is where it's going, and I thought Pauly Shore was funny, but I'm like, now you're just trying to be weird, biting his toenails.
Really?
Yeah. And I was like, nah, I can't.
If he can bite his toenails, and he probably could have sucked his own dick.
But if you had that many chicks wanting to suck your dick, why would you put that time in?
If you could have an Asian cut your toenails, why would you bite your toenails?
Well, that's Pauly Shore.
Dude, it's weird, buddy. I used to chew on my toenails. The whistle, bite, munch, munch, munch.
Did you ever do him on stage?
No.
You would never do him?
He's just so out of date.
Out of date?
Yeah.
Dude, he's very interesting dude, though.
Cool dude.
But creeps me out a little bit.
Oh, yeah. But I that's a whole nother. But I think between the ghosts of the Comedy Store, Mitzi Shore, his mother, his rise to stardom, and then the crash, which was hard. Yeah, you bite your toenails.
Dude, I was walking down the street with him one day, and this is in Phoenix, we're walking down the street, and I just watch how he looks at people. This is what I'm saying. Right. It's just kind of creepy. And I feel bad for him in a way. Like he can't trust, because of the character that he created. He has everybody knows who he is for the most part, but he can't trust everybody that comes up to him to talk to him, because they could be just the weirdest people.
Right.
So he's like eyeing everybody up. And as I'm walking with him, I just noticed that he goes from side to side on me while we're walking, depending where people are coming and how they're looking at him. And it was just kind of, really? It was weird. I was like, oh, this is tactical here.
Right.
And that was weird.
Okay. So, doom. MTV had and they talk about, the period that they're not proud of, which was they wasn't playing no black artists. And of course, the man leading the march was none other than Rick James, as he was breaking down, I think it was with Ted Koppel. And he said, Ted Koppel basically said, well, maybe it's because they just don't play your music that you're saying they don't play black music. And then, Rick checked that nigga and said, well, then don't call yourself music television if you're not going to play black artists. Because, of course, black people are very integral to the music game. And this broad, Gail Sparrow, who tried to say what Rick James was or wasn't. First off, sweetie, that's subjective, Miss Sparrow. And music and true artistry knows no limitations. It knows no boundaries. That's what's great about music. It is such a subjective art form, and it's such a creative art form in terms of what direction it goes in. So who is she to say what his music is? And she went on to say it was strip club music and called him a pimp.
Yeah.
Which I think was so fucking ridiculous. But past that, she claimed they play back music. And then she said artists Eddie Graham, Musical Youth, and Herbie Hancock. I know you've heard of Herbie Hancock, as have I. Oh, I never heard of the other two at all. But I forget the black professor who's always on a lot of these shows. But he was like, Herbie Hancock wasn't even really in the video. Well, he was an image on a TV screen.
Yeah.
So,
but I knew I didn't know who Herbie Hancock was until that video. That video was how I learned about who Herbie
How'd you know who them other two were?
Well, because they were on MTV.
Okay.
But see, this is, when you say out of all this music, there's 3 black artists on it. Well, who's the Patch the Dutchy guys? What are this guy's name? Musical Youth.
Oh, yeah.
So there's more than just 3. But if you have 3 groups, and I know those 3 because of MTV,
right.
That's how powerful the medium is. So he's not wrong in saying there's other groups out here, and you're not giving them a chance to be heard on this platform when you're claiming your music television. He was 100% correct. Now, on the other side, she did call him a pimp. Rick James isn't a sweetheart of a person though either. So
personality wise.
So I'm not even gonna shit on her for what she said. Okay, but let me ask you this question. Let's not shit on her for any of that. Let's leave it. Let's pretend that's even correct. Let's pretend. I'm not saying it's true. What does it have to do with the music? What does that have to do with what he's doing in the music? Because he's not convicted of being a pimp. He's not all the shit.
He never slapped no women. You don't make women sell their bodies.
Yeah.
That's very specific. And what that feels like to me by Miss Sparrow is that's a white, you making a judgment call on a black man because you see him doing something that you don't like or you don't agree with. So you go to pimp.
Right. But what I'm saying is, and this is what I'm trying to say about it. If that's her personal feelings, I can't stop her from having those feelings. What does it have to do with the music? I don't agree with her, is what I'm saying. But take that off the table. Let her have her feelings. What does it have to do with the music? What does it have to do with the music that he has on there? He isn't getting, at that time, there was any allegations of him doing, where he was caught doing
like behavior.
So where does that have to do with putting him on the music channel? We know there's some bad people out there. And in art, there's always going to be some bad people out there. I'm not relating Rick James to that. I'm relating her thoughts to that. What does that have to do with the music? Your music television. Just
play the goddamn music. Yeah.
Your personal feelings.
That's what I'm saying. You're giving a subjective opinion.
Yeah, but I'm saying even if that is your opinion, what does it have to do with music? You happen to be in the music business, right?
Right.
Play the music.
I've said this, and it's almost like one of my favorite lines in The Sopranos is when Tony says, you're like a woman with a Virginia ham under her arm, but you're complaining because you got no bread. You're like a woman with a Virginia ham under her arm, but you're complaining because you got no bread. Where it's like, however we can get in the door, we get in the door. So let's not complain. But it's unfortunate that sometimes we have to rely on white folks to get us in the door. When David Bowie does the interview and he says with sternness and seriousness in his face, why aren't you guys playing black artists? I forget the guy's name that he interviewed.
Mark
Goodman. And even some of the execs that they cut back to were like, it was not our proudest moment. When you got a David Bowie, one of the most respected artists, checking us for not playing black artists, we look dumb. And again, David is saying the same thing as Rick James, but it means more from David Bowie. So if he helps us get in the door, we got the Virginia ham, we can eat. But the fact we got to rely on that feels like, damn, because we complaining because we got no bread.
But see what my issue with that and making a statement like that, which I get what you're saying, but David Bowie, the white man, didn't say shit about this problem. David Bowie, the musician, did. David Bowie, the artist.
But
David
you
Bowie,
can't disconnect the fact.
Because
Andy, you can't disconnect the fact that he's white. He's a white man sticking up for a black situation, and that always carries weight.
If he wasn't in the music business, if he wasn't a musician, if he wasn't who he was, would he stick up for it?
If he wasn't, no, he wouldn't, because he wouldn't be in a position to.
But he was, and he was as a musician. And I'm only saying this because
as a musician, but you still can't disconnect the fact that this is a white guy doing this. Because Rick James did it too, and it was like. But Rick James didn't have the same. And you're right. Are you going to say he was white, so he had the power? I get what you're saying, but everybody has to speak truth to power, whether you're white, black. Yes, it's the right thing to do. Yes, yeah, everybody has to. But again, we've been down this road. I'm going from what history has always been.
I'm not denying that. I'm just saying David Bowie's and I brought this up before, the Rolling Stones, especially Keith Richards, fandom of Chuck Berry and his love for Chuck Berry. And the Stones at the beginning did all covers of black music, black American music. That's what they loved.
Mick Jagger was Mick Jagger produced the Chadwick Boseman movie, Get Up, the James Brown story.
But and Keith Richards tried to do several different things with James Brown. Not James Brown, I apologize, for Chuck Berry. He has a mad passionate love for Chuck Berry. Yeah, but I guess sometimes I try to remove the white and black thing only because their passion was as musicians, as love for music, and I guess what I'm saying is,
and I understand your point. Yes, it's the same thing about defending comedy. Willie D sent out a post because Michael Blackson made a joke about Martin Luther King fucking white women on Martin Luther King Day, and Cat Williams checked the shit out of him, and Willie D praised Cat Williams for that. And bottom line is, I said, hey man, it's comedy, whether you like it or not. Subjective. Fuck all that. And people are like, well, Africans have a history of coming over here and him being African ain't got shit to do with shit. It's comedy. So yeah, in the name of comedy or in the name of music or in the name of your art form, you protect one another. But, history.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
I understand it. But I think we owe it. If you can't speak, if you know that, like you just said, your white dude had power. If you know that you carry weight, you better be a musician at that moment. Don't worry about being a white man, a black man, Mexican man, red, whatever color you want to put on that.
Right.
Stick up for the people that you not only owe a debt to for who came before you,
mm-hmm.
but who you respect, who you love in this business, and stand up for it always. I mean, Dave Chappelle when he said that thing, and no way am I even saying that Michael Richards is a stand-up comic, because he's an actor he's a comedic actor. He's not really a stand-up comic. Do you?
Dave Chappelle?
No, Dave Chappelle's a stand-up comic, but Michael Richards, comedic actor.
Yeah, but
he was doing stand-up.
Okay, once you touch that mic,
okay, I agree
you're a comedian.
But Dave Chappelle, I mean, that great line where he says, "Yeah, man, I heard him say that shit." He
just had a bad set.
He had a bad set because he identified with him not as a white or black, but as a comedian. I don't know. I don't have anywhere to go with this. It's just that I fight this in my own head all the time.
And of course, once they started playing black artists, the first black guy that they played, and this is what I love. This is the sweet karma-like irony, is that the very artists who you refuse to play are the ones who, once they are allowed to play, change the fucking game. Michael Jackson.
Yeah, and it's interesting how they said.
And she goes, the song they wanted to play was Beat It. And she goes, because there was an Eddie Van Halen guitar riff in it. And I'm thinking to myself, so you really think that the guitar riff is what makes or breaks the song.
No,
I know what she was going for because we're rock. So by having a guitar riff in there, we're playing to rock. Well, then if that's the case, how do y'all not have on your MTV the greatest guitarist of all time, Jimi Hendrix, black artist?
Yeah.
So you want to go there and talk about a guitar riff is the reason why you'll play a Michael Jackson. Well, then let me really call you on your shit. Yeah, play black artist, Jimi Hendrix, greatest ever.
Now, I'm not defending MTV on this. And when you said Jimi Hendrix, was the record company willing to put out a video? Because there's video of
Jimi Hendrix, yeah.
But did they put out and release a video? Because they're getting these videos, and they're not making the videos. They say that they're getting the videos from the record companies. The record companies have to provide them. Was the record companies willing to provide a Jimi Hendrix video? I'm not saying they were or they won't. I mean, it's just a question that I don't know the answer to. Because I
don't know the answer to it either, but I would assume that especially in the earlier days where it was like, yeah, if you're in the business of making money, why wouldn't they?
And to that point, I would assume their record company would have no problem if MTV would have said, yeah, we want Jimi Hendrix. It's a rock station. They would have just cut a clip from one of the concerts and just sent it out. So I think it would, to your point, I think it would have been very easy for them to get if they had any interest in getting it.
And to further debunk her bullshit, they said that they accidentally sent the wrong video. They sent Billie Jean, which of course has no guitar riff, and it changed the game.
Well, and then what's funny, and I said this.
I'm sorry. So back to my point: executives, powerful suits, leave the motherfucking artists alone.
But what I said to you before we saw this, I thought it was interesting that you take to really change how MTV did its programming.
Right.
That you would need, and I do consider Billie Jean to be one of the greatest songs of all time. Right. That you would need that song to break it, because if it was Beat It, I don't think it would have had the same. It wouldn't have the same effect.
And let me backtrack because I fucked up. Billie Jean blew the doors open. Music video wise, Thriller changed the game.
Thriller did, but it was already the genre. Like for me as a kid, it already was. The door was open. Billie Jean was. I couldn't wait to get home to watch Billie Jean.
No, but I hear you. Yeah, that feels like what you're saying is a personal choice.
Yeah.
Thriller blew the fucking door off the hinges.
Because they made a movie.
Yeah.
It wasn't just a video.
But then the song too.
Yeah. Well, no, the song was there and everything was there, but that video was a movie. It was a mini movie. They had a real director. They didn't use, and I shouldn't say a real director. They used a famous director.
Mm-hmm. John Landis.
They had all the makeup, everything that went with it. So it was different. It caused a stir.
And back then, that was unprecedented because it never been done.
Right.
So Michael broke new ground in the most major way ever.
But again, going back to Billie Jean, to me, anytime that song comes on, I don't care where I'm at.
Yeah.
It was, but see, this is where I don't understand, and this is why race to me gets more complicated in these situations. I didn't see the difference between a Billie Jean and the other stuff on the radio. I mean, on MTV. I saw it as a good video with good music.
Right.
And I understand through my conversations in life with people these days.
Right.
That maybe it's just different. I don't understand how people just don't see it as what it is. Good. Right. So, but that changed a lot for me. But I was already I DJ'd a little at the time, and I was already, Michael Jackson's Off the Wall was a great, I guess I was probably just waiting for Michael Jackson, not understanding that it wasn't being played. I was just waiting for it to get there.
Right. I gotta say, man, I'm gonna have a moment of black vanity and black pride here. This is what I love about my people sometimes. It's like we invented rock and roll. Now, it was a white man who invented basketball, but it was us who perfected it. Like black people just, and the defense rests, Your Honor, black people just, when you deny us shit, okay, motherfucker, watch this. So yeah, first of all, again, technically, black people invented rock and roll, even though it feels like that is associated with somehow white folks. But, y'all said niggas couldn't be on MTV. Then you get Michael Jackson, and it changes the game. And it's, again, this sweet, like, karma irony. You didn't want black artists, but then throughout the 90s and the early 2000s, wasn't nothing but black videos on MTV.
Well, they tried to stop that, though. And they didn't talk about it in this thing. And the reason I say that is that's when they went in the direction of, like, harder rock, metal, and they were trying to get those bands to be the bigger bands. They always tried to move in that direction. They always did.
Mm. Okay.
It's just if you watch when Yo MTV Raps got on there, it was
that's my next point.
Let's go there.
And you know, again, this is why I'm saying the thing that David Bowie, MTV Raps, they put it on at 2:00 in the morning. So you go, okay, we're gonna do hip hop. We're gonna give you this one time slot at 2 a.m. Basically, you're burying us. You're not even giving us a chance to succeed. But the ratings were so ridiculous. Now it's a weekly show.
Right.
At a better hour.
And to my point, when they were doing the Headbangers,
right,
all the hard rock, they didn't need a 2:00 in the morning time slot.
Right.
They didn't need a test. They just put it out there. And, they went with it. This is different. It had to go through it had to jump through the hoops.
Right. And look, when you want to talk about a black artist being associated with a guitar riff that somehow makes the connection that it's rock, to this day, Run DMC's Walk This Way is my shit. That guitar riff, dude, mixed in with that and the mama that wanted way, walk this way. Oh, I love that. That's the inner white boy rocker in me.
Okay, so what do you give Aerosmith for being a leader in that area with Run DMC?
I'm glad they took the gamble.
But do you think though?
Because a lot of and I think even Steven Tyler alluded to it a little bit, where he was like, rockers look down on rap, like ugh, like they didn't respect the form, the genre.
Well, I don't think they understood the genre, but
that too. Yeah. But once they got in the studio and they show that clip of DJ Jazzy Jeff scratching the record and with the guitar riff, they dug the shit out of it.
Yeah. Well, because then they started to understand what the genre was, what they were creating, what they were recreating. It's so. Listen, man, and you say this all the time. Black people will figure out a way to make something out of nothing.
Right.
And when you watch in New York, and you probably saw this when you were growing up as a kid, when you're watching the kid play the drums with the 5-gallon bucket.
Okay, yeah.
Dude, something out of nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, you're taking music, the original hip hop was to take those riffs and put them in and layer them and make music out of them. I mean, talking about making something out of nothing. Mm-hmm. It's such an art form that people didn't understand at the time because it was sold to musicians that were already in places of power as they were stealing your music.
Right.
And that's the business doing that, not necessarily the artist.
The moral of the story, kids, invite niggas to the party. You know what I'm saying? Like embrace the culture. We are the party. Niggas are the party.
Yeah, but see, but you embrace the culture, and then you're going to be then the storyline gets changed to you want us at the party, but you don't want us at the house.
Yeah,
there's I don't know. This is so complicated, and I don't make it any easier because I say what's on my head instead of like really thinking it out. But that becomes part of the problem as well.
Right. There's something that I wrote in my notes. I was like, man, if I could get Andy to say this, it's not the N-word, but when I go, yeah, we're the culture, we're the party. But then if you would have been like, yeah, but when y'all act ignorant and tear the place up, y'all also can be the problem.
Unfortunately, I can say that I've seen a lot of white dudes at parties that have torn up the place and set the shit on fire too. So.
Listen, in the early stages of hip hop, when there were concerts, there were always shutdowns because it would be fights or shootouts. I'm glad they did away with that because it would have been a big stain for the culture.
Well, I used to run hip hop parties in Tucson with Tim that we had on the podcast. Yeah. Tim DJ'd, I did the promotions. We threw big parties.
Right.
I'm not known in this at all, and neither is Tim really, but we're known in this in the early days of hip hop.
Right.
And we had an effect on the culture back then, and especially coming from a small city like Tucson.
Right.
And we threw parties, but man, when we did it for the U of A in school year, and we'd have one party we threw, I used to get like 1,400 people to come through a night. In the small club, we'd get 500 people that would come through a night. These are off. Sometimes these are off nights. Sometimes these are big nights. And we got to the point where we had, and when it was not in school, and it was the city of Tucson coming in, everyone, black, white, whoever, a lot of Hispanics, everybody coming through. Now, man, we had to get a metal detector. We had because there were shootings at the other hip hop parties. We were the safest one of them all. Actually, one of our last nights, I think we did maybe a few more after it, but we had to stop. Tim and I were doing other things at that time. There was a shooting, So it's but aren't there shootings at other? I'm not justifying it, but
yes, there are. But when it's us,
it gets put with like a red light that goes. Yes. So that's. I mean, you could go to you go to a hard country western bar, and there's fights.
Well, they put chicken wire on the stage because folks throwing beer bottles. So
it happens, and I'm not giving anyone a pass. You shouldn't have to go out for dancing and come home with a bullet wound.
Right.
I'm just saying.
Sometimes you go out dancing with a bitch with a bullet wound.
You just, you be fair on how you judge and what you say about any genre or any people.
You can't talk about the music, the MTV video era, and not talk about who I think was just as important as Michael Jackson in terms of taking MTV to the next level, Madonna.
Yeah,
and her thing that took it to the next level was like a version, the live performance at the first MTV Music Awards,
and I hated it.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Her performance?
I hated the whole thing. It felt contrived to me in a way because I was in love with Madonna.
Really?
But from the Lucky Star, which was her first album that she didn't make any money off of because she didn't get anything out of it. Oh, no. Why is it when it's in my...
Just a bit outside. Okay, go ahead.
It's going to smell like Cleveland.
No, it's not.
Smell like Cleveland?
Yeah, a little bit. I smell like them dead fish.
It's a little rough. I loved her in Lucky Star. Right. And she had a bunch of little hit songs off this other album. Right. And I was DJing at the time too. And I loved playing Madonna. And she was cool. She had that like disco rock sound. And I absolutely loved it. And then like a virgin, dude.
It
started. Damn, dude. The ones back in the day, your system is fucked up because you would fart and I'd be like, oh, it's bad, but it's not going to get me.
Right.
But these are fucking ridiculous now.
That's the vaccine mixed in.
Well, COVID's in your ass right now. I really did. I really liked her. And I felt like that was, very... But it was supposed to be MTV sellable. It was everything that was that she was moving to the next. That's when she created the next level of Madonna. And I liked it, but it wasn't. When I saw it on MTV, I knew where it was going. It wasn't the same to me. I liked the original Madonna. She was cooler to me then.
Right.
Go ahead, keep going. But are you going to give Prince any credit in this too?
Well, Prince was the second biggest black artist that they played. In the 80s, for a minute, it was just Michael and Prince.
Well, that's because they were competing for the national stage too. But Prince's visuals, the visuals, the video aspect of Prince, I think that was now Billie Jean because it was the first, and I loved the dancing and everything that he did, and the way it was put together was. But visually, like a movie, like a production, like something that came from a studio, Prince did it better than anyone.
Okay, I sense that you're a Prince fan more than a Michael fan.
No, I'm not. I'm equally divided. I think, and I said this to you. I think I said this to you. I think Michael was the better performer.
Right.
Prince is a better musician, artist, like plays guitar, writes his own music, basically had his own factory. Yeah. He knew it was a different kind of artist than Michael Jackson was. Right. But Michael Jackson has to be one of the best performers. It has to be one of, if not the best performer of all time.
I would say the.
Okay.
My only last note, one of the executives made the best point ever, and to allude to his point was an experience that I forgot to mention from Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. He said the only two things that bring people together is sports and music. Like, that's the beauty of sports and music. They really bring people together. And dude, when we were in the hip hop section of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, there was this middle-aged white woman standing next to me with her husband. And she said, because they had a picture of the Sugar Hill Gang, and she goes, I know the entire lyrics to that song. And then she went, hip hop, don't stop the bang bang boogie, and I joined in with her. We both were going, the biggity beat. And I'm like, here's a 46-year-old black man next to this middle-aged white woman that looked like she in her 60s, where you would think we have nothing in common. But the power of that music, of that song, brought us together.
And then you said it to me, and I did the whole beat for you again.
Yes, and you knew the words better than me.
Okay, but here's the other thing, too. And you said about...
Say them. What are they?
So I'm going to fuck it up now, but it's...
Because you got the pressure on you?
Yeah, and you know what my brain does. Right. But it's something like hip-hop, stop to the bing bang boogie of the beat. And then I forgot. I messed it up in the middle there. I had it.
It's like your brain is in my ass.
No, it's what it is. And I try to tell people, as soon as I think about it, if I have to think about it, it gets jumbled up. If I just say it, there's like words come out. But I was going to say this, because you was talking about music, and I disagree with you about sports. Because sports brings people together and intertwines all different kinds of people, but no one fights after a concert, usually.
That's true.
Sports brings people together, but then gets tribal.
Yes. Okay.
Where music, you all went there for the same reason.
Same artist. Yeah, got you.
But what I was going to say is there's this a band called Jay Giles Band. Are you familiar with Jay Giles? Because that was kind of your time. He was a DJ. He played all kinds of music. Right. And, it's... I want to know why we have these divisions in corporate America when I don't see the divisions on street level for the most part. On the street level, the consumer level, the people like us who buy music, the people who watch programs, the people who go out. Like, if you asked a million white people off the street, just walking around, not in suits, not running shit, and saying, do you really notice the difference between Iron Man and Black Panther? And they would say, no, it's like Marvel, it's comic books, we like them, we enjoy them, we saw the movies, we like both of them. It's corporate that makes it this way. Like, we all want to go see both those movies, both those shows. Right. But for some reason, when you hear the talk at a studio, well, that's a black character, and it's I don't get it. And I guess it's me, and I'm trying to figure this out. But I don't think the street gets it that way either.
No, I don't think they get it that way. But again, you can't ignore certain things. And like, again, when you use Black Panther as an example, now listen, if we were about to see Black Panther 3, or maybe, then maybe different, but again, first time ever.
I get that.
It's what it is. But, it's big.
But the resistance or the scariness to the studio to do Black Panther as a black movie with a black... The street doesn't care. Us on the street.
I know what you're saying. We're not overthinking it like them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They need to just let good art become good art.
That's why I'm telling you, when corporate gets its fingernails in the shit, It ruins it.
But corporate is part of the reason why our structure is separated, is and that goes back to the money again. And I say, and I know that we disagree on that somewhat, but there's levels in this shit. And again, when I go, like I say, street level, the end user, the people who are going to go to the movies, the people who are going to buy the records, the people who are going to hang out together.
Right.
I don't think we're the problem.
Okay.
I see that we can be the problem. And in instances, it boils up.
Right.
But I don't know how. I don't think that the average person is causing this problem. I think this comes from a whole different place.
All right. That's all I got.
That's all you got?
Yeah.
We went to the VJs, went to the music.
Yeah, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
I asked you this, and you still didn't answer this. And maybe I can get you an answer now.
Okay.
Top 3 musicians.
Oh, goodness. Is there any specific...
Nope, you can do any genre you want to.
Top 3 artists?
Artists or bands.
I don't know that I have bands.
You don't have any bands? Dude, because when we were walking around and I saw Earth, Wind, and Fire, I got a little excited because in the 70s, when I was a young kid, when I was really young, I was like 11 or 12, and they were really hidden. Mm-hmm. Dude, that was like some of the coolest shit. Parliament, Funkadelic, that isn't up there?
Right. I never got into that like that.
Atomic Dog?
Nah, that's too weird for me. That George Clinton and...
The whole space?
Man, yeah, that's too weird for me, man.
When there was one of these videos that you could do live videos, I forgot what app it was. Right. He was on that. And so you could catch his concerts all the time. That was only a few years ago.
All right, top 3 artists. No particular order, right?
No particular order.
Stevie Wonder.
It's a great one.
Jesus. Michael Jackson. I love Whitney Houston, but I don't really rock to too many female singers. I like a little Aretha Franklin a little bit. Whitney's probably the most. But it feels like if I say a woman, I'm doing that because I feel like I'm supposed to. Or if I say a white group, I'm doing that because I feel like I'm supposed to. They're definitely in the top 10 or 20, but I don't know about 3. But if I had to stick a woman in there, Whitney Houston. If I had to stick a white group in there, Hall & Oates.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
I'm not mad at any of those.
How about you?
Stones, it's my number
Rolling
1.
Stones, okay.
Parliament, my number 2.
All right.
And then it gets complicated once I get past that. Because, I want something soulful.
Okay.
So I want to do
Al Green.
But I don't know if that's the one because Al Green, like I always think desert island. You're trapped on a desert island and you only have 3 albums with you.
Right.
Or, 3 artists with you. And Al Green would be nice, but I don't know if you survive, especially if you're by yourself. I'd probably want to get, I'd probably have to, no woman there. That would be rough.
Yeah, Al Green probably had you, well, not Al, but Marvin Gaye probably had you fucking a coconut.
You leave those little furry parts on the yeah. So I'm already picturing it. It's probably going to go. That one's really tough for me. I don't know who my number 3 is.
Got to fill it.
I'm trying to think of who I do. I guess it has to be honestly between Prince and Michael. I'd probably go Prince.
Okay. Yeah, he's fucking a coconut too, but
but Prince has everything from soulful sound to the hardest rock sound that you could possibly have.
Right.
One of the best guitar players of all time.
I gotta be honest, man. I've never was a Prince guy
and I know that. I know that about you.
You know what I mean? I just never was a Prince. I've never owned a Prince album. I never went, I don't have a favorite Prince track. Yeah, man, Prince is, I get it, but acquired taste, man.
Honestly, I would love to have put Biggie in there because Biggie you can listen to over and over and over again. I think it's Not enough material, though.
If you had to put a woman in there.
That's tough. Because there's a lot of female artists that I like, but I don't know who I'd get. I'm going to say something really weird. People are, Jewel. I don't know if you.
I know who Jewel is. Really?
I like her voice. I like a lot of her songs. They're like folky songs. Right. She's interesting to me. I think.
I'm gonna name a couple of women, yay and nay. Pink.
I like Pink, but I wouldn't put her in my.
Lady Gaga.
I'm unaware. I just never was into her, right. And so I'm not as aware as I should be. She's very interesting. I think she's interesting, but I'm not. I'm put that as it's a non-applicable. I don't know how I feel about her.
Alanis Morissette.
I actually like that first album.
It's like rain. Can you feel it? Like a green light. I thought she always wanted to bang her because of that song.
Thought she was so interesting. I thought that was, but see, I watched her documentary, Jagged.
Yeah.
Dude, her manager was fucking her at 15. Like she went through a bunch of shit to get. This is why when we talk about the objectification and the things, I said I agree and disagree with you. I see this girl's situation as a girl, see who she is now as a woman. She went through a lot of shit. So she's very interesting to me. I find that very interesting. And when I said Jewel, I felt bad because, like you said, Aretha Franklin's in there. She should be in there. Who else should be in there that's not mentioned in this?
Oh, okay, let me do that. Throw a black woman in there.
Aretha Franklin.
Oh, okay.
I mean, how could
over Tina Turner?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Tina Turner. Don't get me wrong, too. In the 80s, she really had that run where it was like all this music that she had in it.
Heart on my hand, make your voice react. Do. What's love got to do with it? What's love but a second-hand? Rewind. What's love got to do with it? What's love but a backhand of emotions?
Saying that though, Ike and Tina's music, I really like that music. Tina's on her own was great, but it had that 80s. She had that 80s feel to that.
Definitely with that hair, especially.
So that's why it was easier. And Aretha has that huge body of work.
Right. Oh, let me throw two more females at you. Tell me what you think. Christina Aguilera.
She's got a great voice.
I always thought she was one of the more powerful, super talented singers. Right there with like a Mariah Carey. But here's one. Britney Spears.
I was never, ever a Britney Spears fan. Ever.
And you know what's crazy? When you really listen to her, she can't sing. She's very nasally.
She can't sing. She's not hot. A lot of people say she's hot.
She's very dirty. Like no shoes, bare feet on the pavement, white trash. She looks like her pussy tastes like gas station tuna.
I don't know. I never even thought about what it tastes like. That was never an artist. Another artist that I like, Bonnie Raitt.
Bonnie Raitt, she's like country, isn't it?
But she has that gravelly. I like that voice, that sound. Right. I like certain sounds more so. I like the
right. Reba McEntire looks like a sexy, retarded woodpecker.
I'm so mad at you because now I see that. Right? Yeah, and it's very upsetting.
Red hair, yeah.
I'll ask you this one though. Celine Dion.
She seems fancy and like you're supposed to like her, but nah.
She's like that.
But she can sing her ass off.
She can sing, but she's like that really good. Like if you went to a gourmet grocery store and they had all this great coffee,
right,
and she'd be the premium blend.
Oh, nigga, her pussy is Whole Foods.
But I don't want that blend.
Right, there you go. What do you think about Jennifer Lopez?
I'll put her like I put Michael Jackson. She's an amazing performer.
You know, dance-wise, I think she's the cream of the crop.
Better than Paula Abdul?
I would say 1A, 1B.
Okay.
Dance. But singing-wise, acting-wise, I think Jennifer Lopez is one of the luckiest human beings on the planet. She's not a Meryl Streep. And singing-wise, she's another one. Not that great. A lot of music, lot of tricks behind her.
She's a performer.
But to be that big of a fucking star.
You know who we didn't mention in this? And total 80s. And now I'm going to forget her name because my brain just did that shit to me. Who's I think it's Cuban style music anyway.
Shakira?
No, I like Shakira.
Right.
But a lot of Gloria Estefan.
Yeah, Gloria Estefan.
Dude, that's 80s.
Yes. She was hot.
And she was cool.
Yes. Very talented.
I know we're missing some great women artists here, but
no, I think we're calling them out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Cher.
Great performer.
Right.
Amazing. She's multiple talents. She can do acting. I think she can sing. She has a voice.
She ain't really done nothing acting wise that stuck out since Moonstruck.
That's the movie I was going to say.
Snap out of it.
But what was the movie she did where? No, anyway, very interesting. I found her career interesting. I think she's an interesting person. But dude, I have, and as I get older, maybe I'll feel differently about this. But can you just get older? Can you?
Right.
Is it okay to get older? Can we? I'm embracing as I.
Is she 76? I think she's 76.
Dude, she looks like she's had rejuvenation every aspect of her. Get a little older. I appreciate seeing a little bit of wisdom and age.
Wrinklage.
Who you are. It freaks me out.
Yeah. She's been mummified.
It's freaking me out.
Right.
You can only pull yourself back so far. It looks like she has like a thing on the back. You turn it. You turn this thing on the back of her head.
And it just pulls the skin back. That's hilarious.
Dude, just, I appreciate who you are as a person.
Even love after love. Okay.
I know someone's going to write in and tell us all the people that we missed, especially the women that we missed.
Right.
It's okay. Send them in.
All right. Well, there it is from Cleveland. Had a good time with you guys, man. I was glad we did it. I didn't regret it at all. But you know, other than that, it's Cleveland.
Man, Cleveland, I'm not mad at you, but fuck, I'm going to be mad now.
Just a bit outside.
All right, so here it is. I got to tell you where we're guys going to be. If I can fucking breathe through this. Listen, what's really important to me, and I'm going to just set this one right out on top here. I'm going to be in St. Louis next weekend. Aries, you are in Denver, Colorado, at the Improv, and I'm going to be at the Helium in the garage. Guys, I need to sell some tickets, man. If there's any chance of me ever being able to feed myself without this dude who farts on me all the time. And I'm not saying I don't want to go on the road with him.
And that might have been a little bit of a wet run.
I'm glad you brought your own chair. Yeah. Can I have a career? Listen, I love working with Aries. I'd still go on the road with Aries, even no matter where I'm at in my life. But can I have my own career? Can you buy, I think they're like $10 for it.
Just come out and see the motherfucker. St. Louis, come see this motherfucker.
Tell somebody you know in St. Louis. Okay, and then after that, we're going to be in San Jose.
Oh, that'd be nice.
Yeah, it'd be nice to get to. It'll still be cold, but not this kind of cold.
Oh, fuck that. It'll be great.
And then the week after that, on Wednesday, I will be at the Helium in Indianapolis recording Aries farts and burps. Dude, you should just do a whole track of farts and burps.
Farts and burps. That's what it's called. That's a good restaurant. Farts and burps.
I'll be at Helium Indy on the 9th recording my album. If you want to come out for that, I'd appreciate that too. I could use some people to come out to laugh. Listen, if you'd like, some of the people in Cleveland just came out to stare at me. Don't come out. Dude, my favorite part is when they held back the show like 20 minutes.
Right. And
I knew all the people came storming in. And I was like, oh, and I got to say, like, so you guys came in late because you didn't want to see the opener.
But no, and that was funny. But you said, but fuck you. You said it a certain way where it was really funny.
I had so much fun with that. I really had fun with people actually out here in Cleveland. I really did. I'm fucking with you guys, but I had a good time. Indie Helium. I'll be there on the 9th. It's a Wednesday. Man, come out. It's 8 o'clock. You'll be home by 10. All right. Let's see. And then Aries is going to be in Houston. You're going to be with Neri, right?
Yeah, dude, you're breaking my heart.
Because I'm not out.
Yeah, man. And it's Houston. It's one of those cities. It's great. The attendance, the money.
And I got a couple of emails like looking forward to me being there out there.
Especially Autobot.
Man, made me feel good that he was going to miss me. But I'm going to be finishing out my week in Indianapolis so they can get some other recordings in case I need some other stuff on there. But I'll be there in Indy for the rest of the weekend. Aries will be in Houston with Neri. Come on, go see those guys. I mean, I know that show always sells out. So
Neri, he knows I love him. I don't know if I told you, but he said he texted me and was like, "Yo, I listened to the Spider-Man, the Spider-Man podcast show that I was so mad I couldn't do that." And he said that based off of what he heard in terms of our debate. So, Neri, if you hear this, you know I love you. But, Neri never drank and smoked. So whenever back before you became Johnny Gill and I still had Bobby Brown, when the show was over, he basically went back to the hotel room and maybe once or twice, depending on where we were at, like DC, he hung out for half a second, but it ain't really the same because while I'm sitting there drinking and chilling, he's standing by the empanada restaurant. So he wants to get some empanadas and go back to the room. So food was always his drug. Now he done lost the weight and he don't even eat like he used to. So he don't even do that. So this nigga is straight, good night, back to the room, curled up reading the Bible. Dude, so it's just like, ugh.
If you didn't sell any merch, you wouldn't even be there after the show.
There you go.
But if all three of us go on the road, could we be Black Sheep?
Who's the Black Sheep? What's the context? I'm not understanding.
It's the man.
Black Sheep? But what's the association, though?
Yeah, I'm going to make you look it up.
All right.
I'm not giving you answers. After that week, I'm not giving you the dates. The 9th, like I said, I'm in India Helium. Then the 10th through the 13th, it looks like it's on here. Aries, or at least it's the 12th. It's in Houston with Neri. Then the date I'm looking forward to so much, the 17th of February through the 20th, we're going to be at the DC Improv.
Oh, yes. I think that DC Improv to me is right there with Philly. And when we're doing it, New York, Gotham, them three, oh boy. I
love being in the East Coast. I really do. That's why I moved out there. I love the clubs. I love the people. I love how quick everything is. But that DC Improv, you could feel all the comedy that's been in that room. And then the week after that, we're going to be the 25th through the 27th. We'll be in Louisville at the Louisville Comedy Club, which we haven't been there. Have you been to that one before?
Not this one. This is a new one. But I did, when they had the Improv in Louisville, I went. But they since closed that down, and now we have this one.
I'm excited because of the people who own this run good clubs, so I'm excited to be at that one. So that's where we're going to be in February. Again, if you can come out and support me, I'd really appreciate it. I get it. We all have shit to do, and I'm asking you to fucking be out in Indy. But Midwest isn't always my... I'm not always their cup of tea, so I appreciate the people that have heard me and come out like me.
Yeah, they're just mentally a little... They're better than the South, but they're just barely better than the South.
Well, they take things,
depending on where you're at in the Midwest.
But I also talk about inappropriate shit.
I do too, nigga.
Yeah, but I talk about shit you don't even like.
Dead babies.
I don't talk all about dead babies. It's one beat.
I know. Okay, all right. Coming up. Again, guys, I wish you'd listen. This guy sends me all these links. And when I say, dude, send me your social handles so I can verbally promote you and tell people where to find you. I can't send people links. So the guy's name is Manny Griggs. I believe he's a stand-up comic and a music person. And this is a snippet of a stand-up. So here we go. See you guys next week. There it is. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see you next week.
Yeah.
I was late on that one.
Thanks for listening to the Spears and Steinberg podcast. If you'd like to know who's responsible for this shit, well, it was hosted by Ari Spears and Andy Steinberg, produced by Steve Merrick and Anthony Holmes, executive producer, Big Papa, Robert Kelly, and Matt Kleinschmidt for the Laugh Button podcast. For more information on where to find us, visit SpearsbergPod.com.